Welcome back to my 3 million block adventure map. We're going to be building up a town today. This is a land plagued by dark magic. By following the story and completing challenges, you'll discover its tragic tale and how to restore the island. On a mountainside sits a city that has long been silent. Learn its secrets with me as we build it up. I'm Jade the Willow, and I'm so excited you're here with me today. Our first order of business before we get to the city is to create a checkpoint, a sort of rite of passage, if you will. We're going to add in a river that divides the first two areas that have challenges with the next few. After this point, the river, there will be more monsters, and our story will become a little bit more complex. We'll have to figure out a way to implement the monsters, though. I'd like to use pillagers, because they're like a warped villager, which fits the rest of the theme for the island, and I plan to delve into that aspect later in the series. I like the idea of dividing the island into areas, with each area having a different focus and feel. One space for the intro, a space that has a sort of wildland unknown feeling, and an area that's a little bit more dense with story and buildings, which is going to be our city. As you travel through this world, it seems eerily empty. You've begun to discover that something happened. There was a drought, something dark has taken over the land. And as you explore, you're discovering stories without happy endings. You've saved the farm and the tower, somehow, and you've discovered that if you invest in an area, you can heal it. But now, as you approach the city, things seem a lot more daunting. I just decided that what my world is in desperate need of is a city wall. It'll look dramatic and help add some more story to the city. Let me explain. Both the farm and the tower that we covered in the first two videos, you kind of just stumble upon. And though I'm happy with how they look, I think adding a wall will give the city much more of a visual impact. I took my design from the tower and used the same style for the wall. It keeps it tied together and lets our adventurer know that these places belong to the same people. Then we can divide the city into upper and lower sections, which is so much better than my original idea of just one big blob. By adding in these two sections, it'll help us create tension because it'll be easier to establish class differences. We can have a lower city outside of the town wall and an upper city inside the town wall. The lower section is what we're going to be building today. The wall design was pulled from the style of the original tower where the character first comes into the island. I want to tie it together so our adventurer knows that it was built by the same people. It's kind of empty up here, but maybe we'll hide something in the future for your character to find. You can't see me, but I'm raising my eyebrows up and down. I enjoyed building my city houses. Now that I have a pattern down, thanks to the farmhouse, these buildings came together a lot easier. This area has houses and a few businesses, places like a forge, lumber yard, and mines. Buildings like a library and courthouse, if that's not just in the castle, I guess, will be in the upper city. I decided to copy and paste the buildings throughout the city rather than doing a unique build for each one. The buildings are a little complex, so if I rotate them, I feel like there's enough variation that it doesn't look too similar. Plus, I hadn't done any floors or interiors for them before I pasted them around, so all of the interiors are unique, which is good because you'll have to explore them in order to find all of the story pieces, so you don't want them to look the same anyway. The stories from the people of the city that our adventurer will discover are short little blurbs, like journal entries, that mostly follow after the events of the Hasten farm. Things like, I and a few others went to the king to ask for help. He said he had nothing else to give. I wouldn't have believed him, but I saw the hollow look in the court's eyes. We're starting to lose hope. Should I try to read these in different voices? Since there are different people writing them, I don't know if I could do that. My husband could. He's pretty good at silly voices. Okay, well, I'll try it. There's food. I can't. It's so silly. They can't have silly voices. Their livelihoods are falling apart, and I can't take myself seriously. Okay, we'll just do it normally. There's food. The Hastens brought a wagon full of food into town today. It's true. The whispers were true. Their farm has been saved, and therefore the village has been saved as well. I don't know what happened, but somehow, even though there's no green on the entire island, their fields are flourishing. There must be something more to the story. It doesn't make any sense. The village threw a party tonight. After a poor harvest last season and little to no growth this season, this is the first time we've had anything to celebrate in a while. Sure, the food is still scarce, but we can dance and sing. Something's not right. There's a haze on the island that wasn't here before. and it has nothing to do with the drought. We have nothing to export and the trade ships have stopped. We are in desperate need of help. I discovered something strange while foraging in the forest today. There was a patch of earth that seemed to be devoid of life. It wasn't just that it had no water, it felt like the goodness had been taken out of it. I'm probably just tired. The lower city is supposed to solidify the story that you discovered on the farm, to help round it out a bit and tie the farm into the rest of the story. At the farm, you discover that the High Mage did something that restored the land. However, the fallen hero notes that there is a dark spot. I'm also trying to set up one of the main conflicts. As you read through the short journal entries, I hope you notice that there's kind of two reactions. The yay, we're saved, and the something's not quite right. This will be amplified as you go into the upper city. The journal entries will be a little longer and it'll be set in a later time in the story. I'm not sure if I should also put dates on journal entries. I don't know if that would be helpful. Maybe I'll try it. I want the journal entries to help bring the city to life, putting aside the fact that it's devoid of life and everyone fled the magic, but I want them to provide a place for the player to connect to the world, to give you a motivation to restore the land. As our recently arrived hero journeys through the island, they'll come across parts of the story out of chronological order. I'm trying to keep it as in order as I can so that the person isn't too confused. It's a little hard for me to know if someone coming into it would be struggling with following the story since I know the whole plot. One thing I'm going to do is put numbers on all of the hero's notes, like journal entry 1 and so on. So that way when our new hero arrives to the tower, they'll see the last journal entry, know how many they're searching for, and be able to place them in order in their mind. You'll see how it goes as we move along. I'm just not sure yet how many I'm going to make, so I can't number them yet. This is my favorite tree. He gets a little silly at the top, but don't tell anybody. He's the same as the tree over here. I put them right next to each other, which I generally try to avoid, so in order to make it not quite so obvious, even though I did rotate them, I put a few extra leaves on top, and it's like he's wearing a funny hat, and I love him dearly. So I had an idea. I thought it would be fun to add a statue to the town. It would add another element without it being another house. And at first I thought about doing a person, then I thought maybe an animal with a symbolic meaning, but I thought it would be fun to keep it Minecrafty and use an iron golem as inspiration. So that's what we're working on. Oh no, it was going so well until I got to the head. What do I do with it? And his flower's a little silly. It looks like a balloon. It's cute, but the head, it's coming down. All right, so I'm going to make it a little bigger. As you may know if you've watched some of my other videos, I have done very little organics. I don't know if this really counts, but it's an adventure either way. It's going to be better this time though, and there, much better. I'm super proud of myself for using the walls for arms. That way it contrasts with the body blocks and it doesn't all blend into one blob. And I love the eyes. The iron golem has red and black eyes, and I couldn't get it to work with blocks except for the glazed terracotta, and I think it's perfect. It's a little bit of artistic interpretation. If you couldn't tell, this is my first adventure map I've built. I've done a lot of things like this before that are similar. I'd make adventures for my sister and I to play through, but I was always there to guide her through the process, and I could do all of the behind the scenes bits like as we were playing through it. So now I'm trying to figure out how to make it function without me, and that has been my biggest challenge so far. So hopefully it's working, and hopefully the little journal entries will help fill it out, but we'll have to see as we go along how it progresses. I've also added in some dark spots of magic around little cracks in the earth. The challenge for the lower city is going to be a scavenger hunt. As you explore, you'll discover hints left by the fallen hero, and you'll find different crafting ingredients. After you have everything, it'll create a redstone repeater that you'll have to place in a specific spot on the city gate to complete the redstone circuit. Once the redstone repeater is placed down, you'll be able to restore the area. I'll be using the same command that I did for the farm, which triggers the command in the command block when a certain block is placed in a specific spot. For the hero's scavenger hunt, it'll start with, the last couple of us left in town have blocked off the upper city. The dark scar is spreading. Not that I think the wall will keep it out, but at least I can try to keep people away from it. And I've done that by breaking the key into parts. They're scattered throughout the city. If someone has a great need to enter the upper city, they can follow the clues to the key. If one seeks to save the city, the best place to start is with the city's protector. A strong base of 3 parts. If stone is a good enough foundation for a mountain, why not a key? And where does one get stone? Delve deep into the mountain to find a source of energy. The forge, a place to transform and necessary for creating a key. You'll have to put all of the elements together to create the key, then use the key to complete the gate circuit. My clues are a little silly. My writing is not great, but so long as you can get it done, I feel like that's the most important thing. The gate to the upper city is going to be here, but first I have to figure out how to make a working gate. Redstone is not something that I've explored much, though I would like to, so I'm following a tutorial by Mysticat. I linked the video in the description. Many years ago, like maybe 8 years ago, I had a city gate that you could open and close with a lever from on top of the guardhouse, but it only moved 2 blocks, so you could just squeeze through. And this is going to be so much better. A few more blocks and the contraption will be complete. Guys, it works! It works! I'm so excited! Look at it! I feel very accomplished. I'm thrilled. This is fantastic. And now we add a few blocks here and there to cover up the redstone. We'll bump out the wall around the gate a little bit. It's not very noticeable, and I might change that in the future. But for now, I'm hoping that it means the adventurer will be drawn to the city rather than straight towards the gate. We want them to end up there eventually, but not right away. And now, for the healed and colorful city. Ta-da! It's so pretty. I love the colors. I chose the palette for the roof based on the colors of dawn. I think of the rising sun and I feel hopeful, which is what I want the explorer to feel as they're going through the island. After they fix things, they do all the hard work, and then they get their reward. From here, you'll have a choice. Follow a path that leads out of town, continuing on towards the north side of the island, or go through the gate you just opened and up into the upper city. This will be the most obvious place to branch off as you're going throughout the world, as opposed to other places on the island where you just have to walk off of the path. But this place, the path will split in 2. The city will lead you on towards more of the main story, kind of main story, but it'll be very much focused on how the dark magic affects the people, whereas the path towards the northern mountains will lead to more supporting stories and delve into the effect of dark magic on the land. And if you caught it earlier, I mentioned a dark scar behind the wall, which you can look forward to in an upcoming video. Next on our plan, I think we're going to follow the path towards the northern mountains and then circle back to the city, so it's not 2 city episodes in a row. It'll be very exciting. I'll see you then. Bye!